This episode is brought to you by DistroKid.
With Amex Gold, you can experience the gold standard. You get access to exceptional dining, plus 4 times membership rewards points on eligible dining purchases. That's the powerful backing of American Express. Terms apply. Cap applies. Learn more at americanexpress.com/withAmex.
Hey everyone, happy holidays to each and every one of you. For today's episode, Chris Fafalios and I break down the writing, release, and legacy of the classic Christmas song, Rockin' Around the Christmas Tree, written in 1958 by Johnny Marks, and made famous with the vocals of Brenda Lee, who unbeknownst to me was only 13 years old when she recorded it. The band that played on the track were all world-class musicians in their own right. Saxophonist Boots Randolph and pianist Floyd Kramer are legends, and producer Owen Bradley captured all the magic to tape. The song has experienced a resurgence many times over the years, the most recent being in 2023, when a then 79-year-old Brenda Lee starred in a brand new video, lip-syncing to her 13-year-old self. That video alone has amassed almost 25 million views on YouTube since its release. Super cool. So for all this and a vulgar pumpkin pie, stick around.
Hey, have you heard? Chris DeMakes a podcast. Hey, have you heard? Chris DeMakes a podcast. Hey, have you heard? Chris DeMakes a podcast. Hey, have you heard? Chris DeMakes a podcast.
Hey, happy holidays to you, Chris.
Happy holidays to you too. Today is 2 days before Christmas, and want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, all that stuff, Happy Hanukkah, whatever you choose and choose not to celebrate. This episode, you know, when you first brought up Rockin' Around the Christmas Tree to me, and you said, yeah, we should do a Christmas episode, I was thinking, I'm very familiar with the song, haven't heard it in a minute, and boy, the things that I have learned.
I think maybe more than any other song we've ever talked about on Chris DeMakes a Podcast, every moment of this 2 minutes and 4 seconds is iconic and memorable. Think about the intro, the voices that come in, the guitar at the beginning. That is like been in so many ads during the holiday season, movies, whatever. This song is so huge, I understand why in 2023 it finally went to number one.
Well, that story is incredible. And let's just back up real quick. The song was written in 1958 by Johnny Marks. Were you familiar with him, Chris, prior to this?
I wasn't, but man, I guess I should have been considering all the songs he wrote.
You know, and I want to ask you, Chris, have you... You know, like old songs like this, there have been cases where they're just considered, I guess, public domain standards that sometimes they don't even know who wrote them. They were campfire sing-alongs, but, you know, this guy had no idea. Johnny Marks wrote Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, Rockin' Around the Christmas Tree, A Holly Jolly Christmas, Silver and Gold, and I Heard the Bells on Christmas Day, and You wonder, was he properly compensated? He was born in 1909, died in 85. Is his estate getting royalties? And, you know, because this is huge.
I sure hope so, because those 5 songs you just named alone, do you know how many times those songs have been covered and performed? They are all, like you said, they're standards. They're classics. Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer has probably been performed 500 million times.
Well,
you know,
and nowadays,
crazy.
Nowadays, think of the streaming numbers around the holidays and commercial radio play and everything else that happens from Thanksgiving on through December. It's incredible. Johnny Marks served as director of ASCAP from 1957 to 1961.
Well, Chris,
for those that don't know,
I'll interrupt you right there. I hope the fact that he served as the director of ASCAP meant that he did get all the royalties from these songs. You would hope so, right?
Well, that's really funny that I didn't even think of that. But yeah, you're right. And for those that don't know, that's really funny. ASCAP and BMI is another one. They are big publishing companies, and they're the companies that handle all the songwriting royalties for specific artists and bands. Rockin' Around the Christmas Tree was recorded by Brenda Lee in 1958 when she was only 13 years old. And let's talk about that. I had no idea that Brenda Lee was 13 when she sang this. Evidently, she was approached by Johnny when she was 12. Said she was 12 years old and had not had a lot of success in records, but for some reason, Johnny Marks heard her sing and wanted her to sing the song. And she's got like this husky voice. I know that that girls mature faster than boys, but she sounds like a grown woman.
She sure does. That's Little Miss Dynamite you're talking about there. Brenda Lee was known as Little Miss Dynamite. Chris, I watched a whole interview with Brenda Lee. She's awesome, by the way. When we're recording this, she's 80 years old. She's still awesome. I think she's still performing. And she grew up super poor, shared a bed with her brother and sister. They didn't have running water at her house. And her father died when she was 8 years old in a construction accident. So by the time she was like right around that age, 8, 9, 10 years old, she was the primary breadwinner for the family. And she was making money by singing. Mm-hmm. And her voice is incredible. One of the most unique voices. And dude, something else I found out about her, which I didn't know. Brenda Lee sold over 100 million records. She's one of the most successful American artists of the 20th century. Dude, she was recognized by Billboard as the top female artist of the decade for the 60s. And she is one of the 4 artists who charted the most singles in the 60s. Do you know behind which 3 artists?
Oh, singles of the 60s. I mean, geez, it could be...
There's only 3 ahead of her who had more.
Would it be the Beatles?
Yep, that's one of them.
The Beach Boys?
No. She had more than the Beach Boys.
Huh. The Beatles, 60s.
Another one real obvious.
Jeez. Hit me. What do you got?
Elvis.
Elvis, of course.
And Ray Charles. Those are the only 3 artists that had more hits than her, more charting songs.
Well, it's amazing. Yeah, she's 80 years old. She's born on December 11th of 1944. And Chris, I feel, there's this podcast, I'm telling you, just something like this. Of course, I've heard of Brenda Lee, but while researching this, had I come across that she passed away in 1978 from whatever, I would have believed it. If someone would have said she passed 3 years ago, I just hadn't really kept up with her career. I love that she's 80 years old and she's still going. On the week of December 9th, 2023, and I didn't know this till you brought this up, Rockin' Around the Christmas Tree finally hit number 1, one spot above Mariah Carey's All I Want for Christmas Is You. And what helped it reach number 1 in 2023, Brenda Lee's record label released a new music video featuring Trisha Yearwood and Tanya Tucker, and Brenda promoted the song on social media. Also, the playlisting of the song helped a ton. The music video featured the current Brenda Lee lip-syncing to the 13-year-old version of herself. 24 million views on YouTube in 1 year.
I'm kind of thinking that this might be my favorite Christmas song. I just thinking in preparing for this episode and just realizing how amazing this song, how great her voice is. And there's one certain line in this song that we'll get to that just makes me laugh every single time. And just a classic, man. And I feel like I used to turn my nose up at Christmas music a little bit, but I don't know. Maybe my Grinch heart is growing 10 times larger in recent years. I don't know.
Well, you said something at the top, Chris, that I wanted to talk a little bit about. This song's 2 minutes and 4 seconds. There's no fat on it.
No.
There's nothing here you can take away, nor is there anything that you'd want to add. I wouldn't want to put anything, and I'll tell you, this song sounds way longer than 2 minutes and 4 seconds, and not in a bad way. It doesn't seem like it's that short. And we've had other songs that are, super long that seem like they're shorter. It's amazing how music makes you feel. A couple more things here. The song is considered a rockabilly song. It features Hank Garland and Harold Bradley on guitar, Floyd Kramer on piano. You familiar with Floyd Kramer?
I'm not.
Floyd Kramer is a badass. He is in my opinion, one of the best piano players ever to live. I'm familiar with him because I listened to tons of Floyd Kramer. My grandfather had 8 tracks and cassettes of him. It'd be things like Floyd Kramer plays these golden oldies, that type of thing you'd find, on some infomercial or something. So very familiar with him. It's awesome. Boots Randolph on saxophone. He's another one that's just, and these guys, like Boots was a session guy. they go in, and do you hear that tone?
Yeah.
I mean, that sax is growling at you. We'll get to that. Bob Moore on the double bass, also known as the upright bass, and veteran session player Buddy Harmon on the drums. And Chris, I don't know if you're familiar with the producer of this song, Owen Bradley. He was the chief architect in the 50s and 60s of the Nashville sound in country music and rockabilly.
I am not. Did you know that name?
I did not. He was the vice president of Decca Records' Nashville division, and Decca was huge. That doesn't really get talked about a lot. Decca was a huge label.
Am I that ignorant that I didn't really know what Decca was? I mean, they signed Brenda Lee when she was 11. I know that.
I wouldn't say that you're ignorant. It's just Decca was, again, this is Nashville division. Decca to me was always a country thing, and you and I weren't really in that world. But Bradley also produced records for artists like Patsy Cline and Loretta Lynn, which played a key role in their careers. Although Decca released the Rockin' single in both 58 and 59, it did not sell that well until Brenda Lee became a popular star in 1960, which is interesting. That Christmas season, it peaked at number 14 on the Hot 100. It continued to sell well during subsequent holiday seasons, peaking as high as number 3 in 1965. And I'm sure a lot of people will remember the song had a huge resurgence in 1990 from being in the film Home Alone. And again, all these things. I mean, I learned so much just in the notes you sent over.
I mean, I didn't realize that Brenda Lee was so huge. Her biggest song, actually, well, I guess this is probably her biggest song at this point, but I'm Sorry.
I'm sorry, so sorry that
That was a huge song, but she had a ton of other huge songs too.
Chris, there's a song by Golden Earring called Radar Love.
Yeah.
And they talk about Brenda Lee in that song. You familiar with that?
No, I didn't know that.
I know the lyric is Brenda Lee's Coming On Strong.
The radio's playing some forgotten song. Brenda Lee's Coming On Strong.
Chris, I was curious, and so I looked it up. Golden Earring is actually referencing the song Coming On Strong, which was a 1966 Brenda Lee song that went to number 11.
coming on strong, coming on strong. I can feel the heartaches coming on strong.
You know, after her 60s career in this sound, then in the 70s, she had a country career.
She did. She had a major hit in 1979. That was her last, I don't say last huge hit. That was a major hit. And then she did, I want to say a duet with one of the early 80s guys. I don't know if it was Kenny Rogers or George Strait or somebody, but that song, I think it was around 81 or 82. And then over the years, you know, she would do Christmas records and different things. I think her last recorded output was around 2011. But I'm with you. I didn't know just the significance, the 100 million records. It's just absolutely incredible. And can we talk about her voice at 13 years old again? It's no surprise why Johnny Marks wanted her to sing this song. It's 2 minutes and 4 seconds. The intro is 4 bars, features prominent harmonized vocal ahs, pan to the left, and the signature rockabilly guitar hook panned off to the right, along with drums and that upright bass guitar. And the tone on that bass guitar, it's got this percussive thing to it. It's awesome.
It's just interesting how the rhythm section is usually so tucked down in these older songs.
Well, I think there was a reason for that. I think, remember, this was recorded in mono. So recording techniques were a lot different back then. And these old standards, what were they focusing on? Besides the feature part, like when the sax comes in, you're focusing on the lyrics and that vocal.
Absolutely.
You want to hear those vocals. So the drums are kind of sitting over here. Although I will say, I made mention of it, the bass guitar is it is kind of a, ancillary instrument, but it is so fun and bouncy within the song. If you just listen to the bass alone, it's like its own song within the track.
Rocking around the Christmas tree at the Christmas party hop. Mistletoe hung where tries to stop. Rocking around the Christmas tree, let the Christmas spirit ring. Later we'll have some pumpkin pie and we'll do some caroling.
And let's get into these lyrics in the first verse, Chris. You want to read them today? I'll let you read them.
So we get into the first verse.
Yeah!
Rockin' around the Christmas tree at the Christmas party hop. Mistletoe hung where you can see. Every couple tries to stop. Rockin' around the Christmas tree. Let the Christmas spirit ring. Later we'll have some pumpkin pie and we'll do some caroling. Chris, does she really say pumpkin pie there?
I know. It certainly sounds like she dropped an F-bomb there. And you even mentioned that you think, it says here in the notes you left for me, hot take from Chris Fafalios. I think that helped with the song's resurgence. Anytime you can get a group of 8th grade kids to think that the F word's in a song, they're going to love it, right?
Later we'll have some pumpkin pie and we'll do some caroling.
Dude, I watched her perform this song. I watched on YouTube. I watched her perform it maybe from like 2 years ago. And live in the year like 2023 or whatever it was, it still sounds like she says, later we'll have some fucking pie. She even live. How is she turning the P syllable to an F and the MPK into a CK?
Later we'll have some pumpkin pie and do some caroling.
How does she justify that?
I don't think old Brenda's as dumb as we think she is. Maybe I think that this could be on purpose. You know, she has this kind of smirk about her. I don't know. There's something. She might not be the sweet older gal she portrays. But yeah, I think I think that is great. The first verse here features harmonized oohs underneath the lead vocal throughout the whole verse. And after every line, after party hop, after stop, after spirit ring, and after some caroling, we get that rockabilly guitar hook panned off. And what is it about that chirpy guitar that just, I don't know, it gives me a nostalgic feeling. It makes me feel relaxed. Is it a holiday thing? Like families around, you feel safe, camaraderie? What is it?
It's just fun, playful. I love how it bounces off. It's like she finishes the line, then you hear that. So it's like neither thing is stepping on each other's toes. Mm-hmm. The vocal was featured. Now here's the guitar. It's almost like a second vocal that's answering the actual vocal. You know, it's a second voice, I should say.
Yeah.
It's answering the vocal every time. That's what I'm saying, man. Every single thing about this song is so catchy. I love that. And dude, I got to bring up, this whole song, through most of the song, you have those pad vocals going underneath, be it ahs or oohs. There's something about the way those sound. I can imagine. How many voices do you think are there doing that? 3? 4?
Yeah, well, I had in my notes, I wrote that I think there was at least 3 or 4 voices there.
Okay.
And you'll also notice, you know, this, of course, was before automation, which means you could program a board to do the moves, you know, vocal up here, you know, we got to bring the guitar down here, but we'll talk about it in a bit. You know, I didn't know if they just kind of threw up a mix on some of these old standards, let the band play, and the only thing they really messed with, you know, get the levels right. The only thing they might have messed with would be Brenda Lee's vocals or the backing vocals, but I'm hearing some mixing going on. We get later in the song, those oohs and some piano things, they come up higher in the mix. It's subtle, but I probably rewound this thing 30 times, Chris, going back and forth, A, B, and some parts, and there's definitely some mixing going on. Let's talk about these lyrics real quick. The Christmas party hop, like, you know, was that like a term, the hop? Like, was that a dance? Was that a Christmas
dance? Like a sock hop?
A sock
Didn't
hop?
they call like dances a sock hop?
I guess, but wasn't there car hops too? Be like where you get a milkshake and a burger. Was that a car hop?
I picture it being just kind of like a teen Christmas party where people are dancing and it's chaperoned, maybe?
Well, it says mistletoe hung. That's where you want to kiss. And the next line says every couple tries to stop. Well, sure. If you want to get some free kisses, you're going to go into the mistletoe.
Get some free kisses.
Free kisses. Nothing like them. Rock around the Christmas tree. Let the Christmas spirit ring. Why not? Later, we'll have some pumpkin pie,
Right.
and do some caroling.
Jingle bell, jingle bell, jingle bell rock. Jingle bells swing and jingle bells ring.
Hey, everybody, we'll be right back with lots more Chris DeMakes a Podcast after a few words from our sponsors.
Looking to elevate your music career? DistroKid is a digital music distribution service that enables musicians to distribute their music to online stores and streaming platforms such as Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube Music, Amazon, Tidal, and many more. DistroKid collects earnings and payments, sending them to you, the artist. With DistroKid, artists unlock a world of possibilities. From easily paying collaborators with splits to securing your music with DistroLock, DistroKid covers all bases. Plus, you can promote your releases with Hyperfollow and create eye-catching visuals with a Spotify Canvas generator, all for free. But that's not all. Introducing the DistroKid app, now available on iOS and Android. Artists can manage their releases, view streaming stats, and withdraw earnings, all from the palm of their hand. And for those looking to perfect their sound, check out Mixia. With its simple interface and customizable mastering options, artists can make their music sound polished and professional within minutes. And don't forget about Instant Share, DistroKid's newest feature. Share large files securely with collaborators, producers, and more, ensuring your music streams at the highest quality. Ready to take your music to the next level? Download the DistroKid app and explore their suite of tools today. Plus, listeners can enjoy 30% off their first year by visiting distrokid.com/VIP/DeMakes. That's distrokid.com/VIP/DeMakes.
This episode is brought to you by AWS. Amazon Q Business is the new generative AI assistant from AWS. Many tasks can make business slow, like wading through mud. Help! Luckily, there's a faster, easier, less messy choice. Amazon Q can securely understand your business data to help you streamline tasks, like summarizing quarterly results or doing complex analyses in no time. Q got this. Learn what Amazon Q Business can do for you at aws.com/learn more.
Looking for a pickup truck to get just about anything done? Look no further. The Chevy Silverado EV isn't just the most powerful Silverado ever, with next-level towing capability and technology. It also offers game-changing versatility with the available multi-flex midgate and tailgate, which means Silverado EV helps you carry large, bulky, and oddly shaped items up to nearly 11 feet in length. Chevrolet. Together, let's drive. Visit Chevrolet.com to learn more.
Gift the remarkable with Marc Jacobs fragrances this holiday season. From the iconic Daisy and Perfect to the all-new Daisy Wild, Marc Jacobs perfume gift sets include everything she needs to feel special. From her favorite fragrance, plus the matching travel spray. Holiday gifts don't get much more perfect than this. So if you're looking for a gift inspiration these holidays, gift the remarkable with Marc Jacobs.
Hey there, Chris DeMakes a Podcast listeners. Ready to take your podcast experience to the next level? By signing up for the supporting cast at chrisdemakes.com, you not only ensure the continued production of our show, but also unlock exclusive perks. Subscribers receive a weekly bonus episode of our other podcast, The After Party, co-hosted by Chris Fafalios and myself. Many fans rave that The After Party is just as enjoyable as the main show. And with close to 200 music-centric episodes in the archive, there's a treasure trove of entertainment awaiting you. Thank you for tuning in and for your support in keeping the podcast going strong. Join us at chrisdemakes.com and let's keep the fun conversations going.
Begun. Jingle bell, jingle bell, jingle bell rock. Jingle bell.
And now, back to the show.
Then we get into this next part, Chris, and I love what you wrote. And I love these episodes where we don't have a guest because you write the notes out for me. This is like, yeah. I don't have to do much. You did a great job, by the way.
Thanks.
You wrote post-chorus, part B, or interlude. I'm going to go post-chorus, and I almost made an argument that this song starts with the chorus. The Rockin' Around the Christmas Tree is the chorus, but I don't think so. I think it's the verse, and I just think that this part is whatever you want to call it. I couldn't find much in lieu of an arrangement online with the song. Sometimes I'll look and see what other people are calling certain parts, and this song just kind of starts. It's like one stanza almost of lyrics.
Yeah.
It's 2 minutes. It doesn't really, it's one thought almost.
It's like part A, part B, and then there's a part C eventually, which is kind of bridge-like. But yeah, I don't know what to call this, because if a song doesn't have a chorus, there can't really be a post-chorus. And, well, like you said, the verse, it's definitely a verse, but the Rockin' Around the Christmas Tree is what the song is called, but there's not really a chorus.
Yeah, I mean, I'd almost say this is a pre-chorus, but there is no chorus, so I
Right.
don't know. We're just going to call this part B.
You will get a sentimental feeling when you hear voices singing, let's be jolly, deck the halls with boughs of holly, rocking around.
You will get a sentimental feeling when you hear voices singing. Let's be jolly. Deck the halls with boughs of holly. Boughs. Is that like an abundance of holly? Boughs?
Wow, that's a good question. I got to Google this. What is a bough?
Boughs.
A main branch of a tree.
With boughs of holly. So it's like, yeah, it's an abundance. It's a bunch. The main branches,
I don't know.
I never thought about that word. Man, I've heard that word every year of my life.
What does deck the halls mean? Does that mean like the halls of your house are decked out with Christmas decorations?
That's what I would take from it. Yeah, you're decking the halls. You're outfitting your space to be jolly.
Okay.
Maybe.
All right. I never really thought that much about this.
Bunch of cool stuff here in this part B. The vocal ooze continue underneath, but now a very high-pitched voice is also featured in those backing vocals. The melody of the high part is definitely a very memorable and unique thing about this song. A very happy and bouncy piano riff is featured in this part. Go Floyd Kramer on the high keys. And I don't know if I've ever gotten as excited about an old-timey piano player as Floyd because of those memories of my grandfather. I listen to more Floyd Kramer than I'd probably like to admit. The music stops on deck, and the background vocalists join panned off left. They join in a harmony here as she continues with the halls with boughs of holly. I love that. That's really the first true harmony we get in the song. We got all those oohs and stuff harmonizing with each other, but that's the first harmony that's sync with the lead vocal.
Yeah, and it's so catchy, the stop. How many stops as us in punk bands do we do to highlight a vocal? We stop. Maybe we were all influenced by Brenda Lee back in 1958, but they stop, and that's that moment for the vocal to really stand out. And then as it continues into the next verse, we have that descending bass line on the last four notes that leads into verse 2.
Holly, rocking around the Christmas tree, have a happy holiday. Everyone dancing merrily in the new old-fashioned way.
Rockin' around the Christmas tree, have a happy holiday. Everyone dancing merrily in the new old-fashioned way. That's an interesting lyric. The new old-fashioned way.
Yeah, it's like we want you to hold on to the old traditions, the old values, whatever, but it's new. It's in the current right now. I don't know. What else could that mean?
I mean, I guess maybe if we're talking about being at the Christmas hop and she's a teenager and you picture young people dancing, maybe they're dancing in a way that is similar to the way people used to dance, but they're putting their own spin on it. Things are a little crazier now. We're getting into the 60s and things are a little bit more
Loose.
Yeah, loose. Okay. That's a good word. But Chris, also on this line, the new old-fashioned way, there's a little sort of vocal hiccup. I've heard you say that in past episodes before. In the way she sings fashioned, which I think is another hook in the song.
In the new old-fashioned way.
It's endearing, and a lot of times, I'm not saying, I have no idea what went on in the vocal booth all those years ago, but a lot of times those are accidents.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of times that'll happen, and I've stopped myself before. And I didn't like it. Bruce like, what? That was genius. Your voice did this little crack. And I'm like, yeah, it's awful. Like, no, it's character, you know, and
Right.
that is a hook. It's awesome. You know, I don't know if there's, with a song like this, the whole thing is just kind of in the same world, weaving in and out, catchy as all get out. But the bridge here, when this sax comes in, it might be my favorite part of the song.
Old-fashioned way.
That sax is loud.
Yes.
If we're talking about mixing, that was a bold mixing choice. Like, Chris, on a Listen Jake song, if the sax was that loud compared to the rest of the stuff, do you think that all of you, including JR, would be like, yo, we got to tone down that sax?
I don't think you can get the sax above our drums and guitars.
Right, yeah.
That,
true.
and going back to what we talked about earlier, you know, the production here lends itself to this being loud. I don't know if it's as loud as we think it is, but contextually speaking, with everything else, it just comes right at you. It sounds really wide to me. Like the bell on this saxophone was 10 times what a normal bell is. Just sounds wide. And let's talk about the tone. It's so growly. It's on the verge of almost being too much. It's perfect.
The saxophone, you well know, is considered really in classic rock and roll like a rock and roll instrument.
Yes.
And I think the sound of this, I could imagine maybe in 1958, some parents being like, turn off that racket, that loud rock and roll. Now we hear it. It's like you hear it walking through Walmart during the holiday season or whatever, or on a million commercials. But back then I could see them being like, these kids in their damn saxophones. And, you know, but now when I hear that sound, that growly, that loud saxophone sound, I think that's a legendary piece of holiday nostalgia. The second you hear that, that has to be the most recognizable saxophone solo ever, I think.
Yeah, it's definitely up there. It is awesome. And this bridge is only at the 1 minute mark of the song. When that sax comes in, I can't believe it. It seems like there's just so much more song that has happened before that. The backing harmonized vocals here in the bridge, they're a bit higher. There's more held out notes in this part, adding a really cool layer that works perfectly with that saxophone. And the guitar continues to end each measure with a little playful riff. And then we get into our second part B, you wrote?
Part B, part 2.
You will get a sentimental feeling when you hear voices singing, let's be jolly, deck the halls with boughs of holly, rocking around.
This part is pretty much identical to the first time it happens in the song, Chris. You had wrote, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And yeah, that's a perfect example here. Why mess around with it? Why go here and change around lyrics and stuff? Although the oohs on the back half here sound louder than the first time they happen. If you get a chance, go back and check that out. I had to A-B it a bunch. As well as that twinkly piano panned off right is louder here in pre-chorus 2. We get the same lyric again. You will get a sentimental feeling when you hear voices singing, let's be jolly, deck the halls with boughs of holly, before we get into the third and final verse.
Holly rocking around, Christmas tree, have a happy holiday. Everyone dancing merrily in the new old-fashioned way.
Rocking around the Christmas tree, have a happy holiday. Everyone dancing merrily in the new old-fashioned way. I love the way that she ends it there. Once she gets to that part, she hits every syllable forcefully, along with guitar stabs that go along with each one. I also love the way she holds out the final word, way, and the saxophone and the guitar play off each other. It's almost like the guitar and the sax are battling each other at the end. You hit one note here, one note there, and then finally they come together for the final note when a drum fill finishes it, and they both hit together for the final note of the song. Johnny Marks, rest in peace. He's the artist that is no longer with us, by the way. Brenda Lee is still with us. Johnny Marks, just a perfectly crafted holiday song here.
You know, he wrote so many other great songs, Chris, that he'd still be talked about today, but what about, the thought, what if Brenda didn't sing this song?
I know.
Would we be talking about it right now? Because there's something about her voice. It almost sounds, dare I use the word, haunting. There, and something else I didn't mention, the reverb delay treatment on the lead vocal. It's just perfect. It's sparkly. It's got this thing where you hear like the vocal start before it does. And they did that a lot with panning back then. They would go ahead and mono and they would pan a certain thing or have a vocal treated with a delay and have another dry vocal. So there was some things that they could do to make that awesome. That last line, new old fashioned way. I wrote, in my notes, I thought that she could have sang it in the new old-fashioned way and hold out way. But the way that she did it, it puts an end cap on the song. That's such a great thing, a great point that you brought up with that. The way she delivers that, it's an end cap. It's saying this idea is over with. This song is over.
Chris, I've been thinking about your question ever since you just asked it. I don't think there's another artist on earth who could have done this song as well as Brenda Lee did. And I say that because think of all the Christmas songs you've heard a million covers of before.
Yeah.
Some you'll be like, oh, that's better than the original, or oh, that's not as good. I've never heard a version of this song that's better than this. Never heard a version where I'm like, oh, I might want to listen to this one instead of the original. Never. Mm-hmm. And I don't think I ever will.
No, I mean, you look back to the time period. I mean, Patsy Cline had an awesome voice. Amazing voice. One of the most popular artists from that period. Had she sang this, would it have been the same? No one will ever know, but there's definitely something you can't argue about what Brenda brought to this song. But Johnny Marks, again, I learned so much about this song that I had no idea. Again, when you initially brought it up, I was like, okay, that's one of a million Christmas songs. And I didn't have any idea that you even knew about this YouTube video they made last year, which sent the thing to the stratosphere. Well,
I knew that last year it went to number one. It is one of the best Christmas songs. And I thought that was so cool that, the Mariah Carey every year for the past bunch of years, it's been going to number one. And it makes me wonder, are there going to be more classic, what are some of the other really good ones that could? I don't know. I mean, I guess really any of the classics, but this one's so much fun. Mm-hmm. Some of those Christmas songs aren't this much fun. You could dance to this. You put this on at a Christmas party and you just feel good. Sure. And, there's some songs that just make you want to, I don't know. I don't see It's the Most Wonderful Time of the Year from Andy Williams becoming a number one song in the year 2027 or something. There's something special about this one, and I think it is Brenda Lee's delivery. There's something real honest and unique, and I don't know. There's something about this that it's special.
Every time that I heard this song this holiday season, knowing we were going to do this episode, everywhere I go, I just couldn't help but take the points in my head and go through them. So this was a lot of fun. Thanks a lot for suggesting Rockin' Around the Christmas Tree. It's been awesome.
My pleasure.
Absolutely. I want to thank each and every one of you for listening in 2024. Happy holidays. Happy New Year. We got a really cool episode lined up for you next week before we jump into 2025. We'll see you then.
Everyone dancing merrily in the new old-fashioned way.
One Hit Thunder is a podcast where we both celebrate and have a good laugh about bands and artists that had just one hit that we all know. Each week, we're joined by a guest from the world of music or comedy to learn more than you ever thought you would about some songs that you can't forget. And we decide if they brought the one-hit thunder or were nothing more than a one-hit blunder.
Look, if you listen to the show, you're probably going to laugh, and I guarantee you're going to crush next time the bar has music trivia. Tag Team, Jane Child, Meredith Brooks, Looking Glass, Sean Mullins, Eiffel 65, EMF, Crash Test Dummies, Crazy Town, Chumbawamba. We have hundreds of episodes in our back catalog and a new episode each week, so pass the Dutchie, make sure you're connected, and subscribe to One Hit Thunder wherever you get your pods.
When it's PCS time, you know the drill. Pack, research the new base, get the kids in school, because family supports family. At American Public University, we support military families with flexible, affordable online education that moves with you. As a military spouse, your tuition rate is the same as your partner's, just $250 per credit hour. American Public University, education that moves with you. Learn more at apu.apus.edu/military.
Bowie, Dylan, Marley. You've heard the names and maybe you've heard their songs, but what about the stories behind the records that made titans of music like these so universally loved and important? Join me, Josh Adam Myers, host of The 500, as each week I go through a different album from Rolling Stone magazine's 500 Greatest Albums list from 2012 with an incredible lineup of comedians, actors, and musicians talking about how the music has impacted their lives. New episodes of The 500 come out every Wednesday. Listen now wherever you get your podcasts.